Listen, I feel like quoting Anchorman when hey, I miss you. I missed your smell. We should get an apartment together. Chris Sims, what happened to my brother? My brother. I thought it was personal. I didn't know if I did something to offend you. I wanted to talk about it behind the scenes, but we can talk about it on the air, man. It's like everything cool. We still cool? Everything all right?
Of course we're cool. I mean, come on. I'm here with you and Trots. Like, if there's something personal, wait, there's another Michael that's not here, so maybe it's his fault. I don't know.
Oh,
no,
I didn't think about that.
No, in all seriousness, no, I miss being on, right? I can't always do it. I can only talk so much during a week at a time, too. So, like, sometimes I'm just exhausted. I can't do weekly appearances, but I still love you, and I will do my best to be on here more often, all right?
All right, man. I feel that.
Holley,
I'm reaffirmed now.
It's the burden of being extremely talented at what you do, right?
Oh, well, I don't know about that.
You can't talk that much.
Well, I mean, you guys know a little bit. You do. And this is my Friday, so again, I've already done a 2-hour show. I've done a 1-hour plus podcast. I've done a few other media things, made a few videos to where, I'm talked the out by the end of the week, okay? And that's where sometimes I'm like, whoa, NBC, pump the brakes, okay? I know that you're trying to get your money's worth out of me here and going to make it for like 5 cents an hour when it's all said and done, but there's only so much I can do.
Hey, you just keep being yourself, man. That's all we ask of you. Now, we came in with that clip of Joe Burrow, and Chris, you tell me, because I saw we all talked about the Tua Tagovailoa play from the Cincinnati-Miami game, rightfully so. But also in that game, I saw Cincinnati, in my mind, get its act together, and they look very similar to the team I saw last year. Tell me, is Cincinnati back on track if you had to call it, is this the moment where you say, okay, Cincinnati, they're good to go?
I think they're close. I'm not ready to say they're good to go yet. They're close, though. It's definitely going in the right directions after the last few weeks as far as at least they're protecting Joe Burrow enough to where he can dice you up and have enough time to maybe dodge one guy and make a play. I mean, we saw that against the Jets a few weeks ago and, of course, saw it again on last Thursday night when they played the Miami Dolphins. But they're not out of the woods yet, in my opinion. No, the defense is playing really good football. I don't really doubt, the skill guys. They're the real deal. My big question with the Bengals right now is a little bit of just the play calling, the play design. We know the O-line's got its issues. It's not going to be dominant, but I do think it'll get better. But, go back and watch the Dolphins game last Thursday night. It's the same formation over and over. They never switch it up. There's never pre-snap movement. There's never any shifts or motions. I mean, this play right here, okay, it's one-on-one with Xavier Howard. That's great. Okay, all good. They were doubling Jamar Chase. But as the game went on, Miami was like, we're just going to play man-to-man because all you guys do is run go routes and slant routes and a curl route. They need to do more. Even here, this is one-on-one coverage. They're doing a disservice with their simplicity right now. It's too player reliant. That would be my complaint, Michael Holley. They don't do enough to help Burrow and Jamar Chase out. And, again, I challenge you to go watch the game and you'll kind of see what I say once I point it out there to you.
Chris, I want to go the opposite direction of the team they're going to play this weekend. What is going on with the Baltimore Ravens and their inability to close out games and to either score points or hold teams without points in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, it's a big thing right now. I think the first thing that, you go to, and we're so used to the Ravens being a defensive, tough football team, right? And a running football team. One, they can't run the ball from the traditional standpoint. If it's not Lamar making a play and doing something like that, that's their run game right now. They don't really have a run game with the running backs. Last week was a little bit better. We saw a little J.K. Dobbins and some traditional runs from the running backs to go, ooh, okay, maybe we're close. But as you know, Trots, like, you got to run the ball at the end of football games to chew out the clock a little bit. So that's been one issue. But the biggest issue is one that you know already. Their defense is sucky-ducky. It is sucky-ducky to the most. Like, they can't rush the passer with 4. They can't even get close to 4. So then they have to blitz and do creative things, and they're not the same in the secondary. I don't think Marcus Peters is 100%. They got 2 new safeties, right? Marlon Humphrey's still really, really good, but that to me is the issue. They're a little compromised there, and their defense, they just can't depend on it to really consistently stop anybody. And I don't know if it's going to change. With the Bengals, at least, I'll give them a fighting chance this week because there's no run game to worry about. And we just talked about the offensive line issues to where maybe the front 4 can get there a little more than we've seen in weeks past. But right now, it's the Lamar Jackson show. And, you know, there's only so much he can do to carry them week in and week out. And that's a good Buffalo team they played last week that, you know, knew how to slow down some of the stuff they do on the offensive side of the ball. And then, you know, the defense, of course, starts to crumble just like we saw in the Miami Dolphin game a few weeks before that.
Now, let me step back for a second, and our listeners know, who are very familiar with you, know that you don't hold back. You say what you mean and mean what you say. So you talked with Joe Burrow and that clip that we showed, and Burrow made some news, and it was on Pro Football Talk, headline on Pro Football Talk, that, you know, we are, talking about football players, we chose a dangerous sport. So this is what we signed up for, and he admitted to Colin Cowherd that there are times he hasn't remembered things, that he's had memory loss in game. So now I know a lot of people are looking at that. This is a sensitive topic right now because of what we mentioned off the top with Tagovailoa. People don't want to hear that, but I think he's being controversial and realistic. Chris, I mean, you played the game at a high level. Can you give us a sense of what players might be saying when there are no cameras around, there are no media people around, and they're just having a real talk about concussions and head trauma? Do the conversations kind of sound like what Joe Burrow shared with Colin Cowherd?
100%. That's why I don't blame Mike McDaniel or anybody like that from the Tua situation. The blame is on the doctors. You know, the coaches are not doctors. Football world is a little different than the rest of the world. That's why I love Joe Burrow. That's why he's my mofo right there, because he always keeps it real. You know, he's not, okay, I made a headline. Oh, no, I told the truth and people are offended. First off, I mean, he's right. You know, second off, to your point, yeah. I mean, again, if I was in the NFL right now and I got my head dinged and I was seeing 3 for a few seconds, I'd go, oh, man, my shoulder hurts. I'd lie out of my ass to go stay in the game. I'm sure I wouldn't be shocked if that's what Tua did too in his situation. I don't know that, but I'm saying it's part of the culture. Football players want to play football. You guys know a lot of them. A lot of them are naturally psycho anyways and like physical contact. Then you add in it's a performance-based business with no guaranteed contracts. And, you know, the intensity's high when it comes game day from that standpoint. And then I think like the point he makes is, we all do know what we signed up for. You know, I at no point in my life thought, man, Ray Lewis hitting me full speed's probably good for my health. Let me play football because I'll live 10 years longer if Ray hits me and cleans my clock a few times. You know, so that's where I grew up watching my dad get just smashed by, you know, Dexter Manley and Reggie White on a weekly basis. I didn't sit there and go, you know, Dad's shoulders and legs and hips are probably going to feel really good when he's 65. Like, no crap, Sherlock. So, yeah, I think, you know, again, that was a hard thing to see. And I know that wasn't, you know, great for TV, but it is. It's a brutal sport. And I blame the doctors more than anything. That would be my big issue. It's their job. to stop that from happening. And they didn't stop that after the Bills game, and they should have stepped in somewhere in the 4-week process going into the Cincinnati Bengal game. But no, Joe Burrow's just speaking facts, and I think most guys in football would lie or BS if they got their bell run. And most guys in football have had what has happened to Joe Burrow, where, yeah, you get done with the game and you're like, man, wait, it's a little fuzzy right there. What the heck happened during that period of time? And you sometimes need to watch the film next day to kind of go, oh, wait, that's what happened. There's some of the details and all that. So I think he's just giving everybody an honest look inside the helmet of a football player.
Chris, you're absolutely right. I mean, I can't tell you how many retired players I've talked to where I've said, knowing what you know now about the potential effects of brain trauma, would you still play? And almost to a man, every one of them say, yes, I would, including Rodney Harrison, who spoke so passionately about it the other night prior to the game, where he talked about brain trauma and whatnot. Rodney was one of those guys I remember asking one time, knowing what you know now, would you do it again? And he said yes. And part of that is these guys, some of whom come from meager backgrounds, say it is an opportunity to set up my family, not for wealth for my family, but generational wealth. And so would they do it again? Right. Absolutely. And so I applaud Joe Burrow for being honest about it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And, most times, I mean, I know not everybody in the locker room is like this, but most guys in the locker room really love football. For some reason, people don't think that once they get to the NFL because they're getting paid and they go, oh, well, I like to watch college because these are the guys that, really love the game. And I want to go, all your favorite players on the college team are the good ones that are going to be in the NFL that you're going to talk crap about in a few years and say they don't love the game anymore. So that never makes sense. Yeah, there's a love of the game, and I think it's physical. It's a big man sport, and that's where you do get into, hey, smaller quarterback can get away with playing more in this era of football than maybe in the 80s when it was, my dad and Aikman and Joe Montana and John Elway and company, right? But you're a smaller quarterback, you got to go out of your way to protect your body even more so. Again, there's no way Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes get whipped to the ground the same way that Tua did in that. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm just trying to point out that the defensive lineman was on the ground and threw him like that. Tua's a small guy. I mean, he's about as small as they get at quarterback. There's not a lot of thickness or muscle, and that's where, he's got to be more diligent about watching himself too if he wants to persevere and have a long career.
I'll tell you who is not a small quarterback. It's a guy we've talked about a lot, and I'm talking about on the field now. There's some off-the-field issues that I don't know if you guys want to go there or not, but on the field, Tom Brady now didn't practice yesterday, shoulder injury, finger. There's some things happening with Brady. I wonder, Chris, if you see and we're always looking because he's 45. So anything that happens, once you, and anyway, whether you're a football player or not, once you cross 40, trust me, once you cross 40, a little ache, you're like, ooh, what is this? What's going on? ooh.
Wait till you get to 50.
And you call up your personal physician. You're like, hey, doc, this is what happened. Your doctor says, oh, you're just getting old. Ain't nothing wrong with you. As you were. Go back. I wonder if we're starting to look at Brady, and do you see this as a problem, a product of old age, a broken offensive line? If you look at Tom Brady, what would you say the top two issues on the field are with him?
Well, I mean, he is getting up there. Does he look a little more frail than maybe he has in years past? Yeah, I'll say that. And it's been widely reported. I know for a fact. I mean, he lost weight with some of the off-the-field family stresses I think he was going through in August as well with his marriage or whatever else is going on there. But that is a very real thing that there was, I think, the stress of that made him lose weight. But man, Michael Holley, damn, when I watch him I still go, man, that sucker can throw the football. He still makes really good decisions. They're just not executing and quite playing to their full capabilities yet. And I think they're trying to play a little bit of a different way, maybe for some of the reasons you're talking about, Michael. Because, last year, I know there was big numbers and 5,000 yards and all that. But I never thought it was as conducive to them being the best they could possibly be as I did the year before when they won the Super Bowl, where there was a lot of 2 tight end sets and we ran the ball up the middle with Fournette and we made you come down and stop that. And now, hey, let's keep a tight end and protect me, and I'll play action pass and I'll strike downfield to Gronkowski or Mike Evans or whoever else. To me, that's the best way for Brady at his age, and I honestly think it's probably the best way for the Bucs. You know, when they get into too much of pass, we got to pass, and we play a really good defense, whether that's the Rams 3 times now or all the regular season matchups we've seen with the Saints for the most part, you know, he's not the kind of guy that's going to take over the game anymore because, oh, wait, I'm getting pressure and their creative coverages. He's not going to Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson you and then get out of the pocket and make things happen. So to me, the best formula for them to be successful, and the game got out of hand last weekend to where they couldn't play that way because the way Chiefs jumped out them, is to kind of get back to that end of the year Super Bowl formula they had, which was power, run game, play action, protect me, make me feel good, and I'll throw lasers down the field. And if they do that, I think they'll be right in the thick of things. But if they have to rely on him to throw 45 times a game with the new offensive lineman and all that, it won't be good, or it won't get them to where they need to go when it's all said and done.
Yeah, Michael, Chris is right. I saw him. I was at the New Orleans game, and he's down his top 3 receivers in the fourth quarter. He's down his top 2 left tackles in that game. We know Ryan Jensen is not there now. And then you looked at their primary third down back, Gio Bernard, who was out injured at that time. He can't do it by himself. But what I did see is that when the moment called for him to make a play or to make a throw,
right,
that throw he threw to Perriman, the ball he threw to Perriman,
right,
my God, you could not have walked it down there and placed it any better. So, yeah, he's got to get help from those around him. But Tom Brady can still sling it for anyone who thinks he can't.
No doubt.
This is from the guy, Chris, from the guy who said, one of us said that the Bucs would struggle to make the playoffs this year, and it wasn't me. And I don't know if you said it, but I didn't hear you say it. So that leaves the man in the middle, Jim Trotter, said they would struggle to make the playoffs. Now he's talking about, oh, hey, Tom Brady. I don't know.
Well, hey, right now he's looking better than us. They're 2-2, and they're not looking real smooth, really. So I don't know. Maybe he knows something we don't know. But I don't know. I'm going to bet on the end game here that they get this right. The defense will get right, and they'll get healthy like Trotz is talking about and protect him a little bit better to where, you know, I think ultimately they're going to prove Trotz wrong and they'll be in the playoffs. But we'll see. We'll see. It's up in the air right now.
Look, one thing history has taught me is that when someone talks about retirement, they're already retired. And Tom not only talked about it, he walked away from it and then came back. And so if everything is not right, as it is not now, and the personal stuff he's dealing with, which is none of my business and I don't get into, I just think there are a lot of factors in play that are going to impact this team as we go forward.
I hear you there. I do worry about some of that stuff. My only challenge the challenge flag I'll throw to you there come on. He wasn't really ever going to retire. The Dolphins deal was in place. That just got blew up. I mean, I'm not so sure that doesn't have the big reason of part of some of the personal issues he's having right now. You know, so I don't know if he ever was thinking retirement. That was my only thing. I feel like he was just finagling his next move to go with the Dolphins and Sean Payton down there.
I'll leave you with this, last thing, because you are talk the F out. I love that. Last thing I'll leave you with.
I didn't know we could do that on this show.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
well,
have you met Michael Smith? Have you met Michael Smith, who was just like Richard Pryor at the Sunset Strip classic? I mean, just going on and on. Eddie Murphy.
It's Peacock, Trots. We don't have to worry about anything more. We're on the Peacock. We say whatever the hell we want now.
It's the stream.
Well, let me say this to Michael Holley then. I've got a T-shirt next week I will wear for you, which is a Richard Pryor T-shirt. And now that I know we can get away with it, it will reflect my attitude towards many things in life. Let's put it that way.
Oh, I can't wait. Oh, that is a tease. That is a great tease. So last thing I'll leave you with, Chris Sims, and then we'll let you go, I said to Trotter, I think it was on Tuesday, right after the Monday night game, said, San Francisco keeps talking about this Super Bowl roster, and at some point they're going to have to get out of they're really good, they're better than their record suggests. They're going to have to start winning some games, and I don't know what you can do with Jimmy Garoppolo. If he's the guy holding them back, he's going to have to figure it out, because I wonder if they will look back on this period and say, man, we had a Super Bowl roster and we squandered it because we couldn't close games that were winnable, or our quarterback was doing some stupid stuff. Just last thing, I guess, is how would you assess San Francisco going forward, just looking big picture at the 49ers?
Right. Well, I think that what you're talking about is a real thought already out there. Like, how many Super Bowls would we have won if we just had a quarterback that we felt that was competent? How many Super Bowls would we have won if we didn't make the trade for Jimmy Garoppolo when we were 0-10 and just waited for Kirk Cousins in free agency? Or if we drafted Patrick Mahomes, or if we signed Tom Brady that year in free agency? I think that's the reason they kind of went down this weird Trey Lance, we're going to trade 3 picks to move up for a guy that probably would have been sitting there where before the trade and they could have picked him. So that speaks to
Rodgers.
I think, right, exactly right.
Rodgers.
I mean, right, and then they were trying to look at Matthew Stafford. So they've been trying to address this problem. And Garoppolo, even though, hey, we go, yeah, he's obviously a little better than Trey Lance is right now, and Trey Lance raw and all of that. But man, he's doing his damn best to remind us why they've been trying to replace him. I mean, look at these throws right here. Again, they should have beat the Broncos by 14 points. That game right there, I was sitting there next to my wife, and I'm friends with Kyle Shanahan. I was going, they're whooping the shit out of the Rams, and it's 17-9. I mean, the Rams can't do shit except throw 3-yard passes, and I'm going, it's 17-9, because Garoppolo leaves so many plays and yards on the field week after week that they lose their ability to really dominate teams. But my feel of the team, Michael, to get back to the real main question, is like, I think it's one of the best rosters in the league. I go through it, and I know they got a few new young parts on the O-line, but I go, damn, the O-line's still top 10-ish in football. We know their running backs are damn good, especially with that scheme. The receivers, the tight end, holy crap. The defense is the best in football. So they don't need great play from their quarterback. They just need good play and not throw some of the dumbest freaking interceptions we've seen in the history of the planet, on a consistent basis, and they'll get back to the Super Bowl. But I just want to remind people, this is a guy that, made dumb mistakes when they were up by 10 in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, and they could have put it away. This is a guy that threw the dumbest interception of the playoffs to end the year for them last year in the NFC Championship game. I mean, he tried to screw it up in the divisional playoff game in Green Bay when he was floating backwards 30 yards and tried to throw the ball through 12-degree weather 50 yards down the field and threw an interception. So he does dumb shit. And when he stops doing that and just plays consistently, the 49ers are going to be in that Super Bowl conversation.
Can I hold up for a minute? Because I'm not sure. Funny. I want to make sure. Does Chris really mean what he says? I'm not sure what he's saying here. I just want to make sure he's saying what he's saying.
It's almost like Sims was like, well, I haven't been on in 7-8 weeks. I'm going to make up for all the stuff
I'm making up for it.
So I'm going to get all of them in. Hey, but you just keep doing you. We love you, man. Good to see you. Get some rest. It's the weekend. You know what happens on the weekend. So
smoky, drinky time. Yep.
There it is,
You're
brother.
the man. See you guys. Hey, always fun.
Good to see you.
Thanks, Chris.
Chris Sims. Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.